What kind of ROI are you getting on your social media? Are you regularly getting new people following you, commenting on your stuff, sending you messages or DMs? Or even are your students showing up to class because of posts they've seen on your social media? Heck, maybe you are even getting students directly from your social media into your class. If you're like, wait a minute, Cora, that all sounds like exactly what I want, but none of it is happening for me, don't worry. You're not alone. Social media has changed a lot in the last few years. And in this video, I am going to share 10 commandments of social media for yoga teachers so that you have action-packed tips on how to grow your social media, engage the followers that are there and the new ones that come, and how to turn those followers into real paying students. So if you are interested in growing your social media or using your social media to support your business, but you've been stuck, this video is for you. Oh, and make sure you watch all the way to the end. I know it's a long video, but if you watch till the end, I will share how you can enter to win one of these. I'm giving away one every single week of 2022 to celebrate the launch of this new channel. So make sure you watch to the end and subscribe and hit notifications so that we can stay connected and you can keep learning how to grow your yoga business. Number 1, the first commandment of social media for yoga teachers is to be where your students are. So as much as I would like to say that demographics aren't important, they are crucial in understanding where to invest your time on social media so that you actually get a return on that investment. So quite often in marketing, this is called understanding your ideal client. If you're working with students in a group, you can call them students. So where are your ideal students hanging out online? Well, I will put a link down in the description of this video where you can do a little bit of research to figure out where your students are online. But to do that research, you need to know things like their age. Sometimes their gender is important. We only have data usually on 2 genders, so that's as much of a data point that we can use. But also things like where they live, how much money they make. This kind of information is really important. I know a lot of yoga teachers, for example, who invest a significant amount of time on Instagram. However, their ideal students may not be on Instagram. One of my clients, for example, has a great Instagram following, and a lot of yoga teachers follow her on Instagram. However, yoga teachers are not her clients. So when she shifted her social media onto Facebook, which you may not like Facebook personally, she started to actually find her ideal students. So what does that mean? Well, figure out who you want to work with, their age, probably their gender, where they hang out online, which you can do your own research with the link down below. And then craft your social media strategy so that you are investing your social media time where your students are. So for example, if you work with young women, let's say, under 25, then TikTok is somewhere that you want to be. Let's say you work with seniors of any gender. Well, like it or lump it, Facebook is where the action is going to be for that demographic. Maybe you work with angry dudes. Well, can you guess? It's Twitter, right? If you work with yoga teachers like me, it's Instagram. So I focus a lot of my attention on showing up on Instagram because that's where yoga teachers hang out. If you want to follow me, you can check it out here. I will put a link to my Instagram profile. So commandment number 1, be where your students are. Number 2 is to create more than you consume. So as a business owner, we may need to be on social media for our business. I experimented with not being on social media. It didn't work for me. It could for your business, but that's a different video. However, if you decide that being on social media is important for your business, but you're concerned with some of the effects that it has on you personally to spend time on social media, then this one is for you. Create more than you consume. So we can mitigate a lot of those negative effects of social media by investing our time in social media on creation rather than consumption. So what does this look like in practice? Well, to begin with, I delete the apps that I use. Instagram, so that's the one that I delete. I delete Instagram whenever I'm not working. So I'm really lucky. I have a pretty regular work schedule at the moment, which means that I don't work usually on evenings and weekends. And I delete the Instagram app during the evenings and weekends so that I am not on there just to consume, because I know that I'm not working. I'm not going to be adding any value to the platform. I'm just going to be consuming. So helpful tip number one, delete the app when you're not using it for work. Another really great strategy can be to batch create your content off the app. So if you do spend any time engaging with social media just in that sort of passive scroll mentality, that is completely separate from the time when you are creating content for your business. So I have a couple of hours blocked out on a Friday afternoon where I sit down at my laptop and create content for Instagram. It has nothing to do with me scrolling or being on the app. So batch create your content off the platform. Another really useful tip can be to turn off all notifications if you haven't already. That's a given, so you don't get alerts on your phone when someone likes or comments on one of your posts. And just to have set amounts of time each day where you go in and you answer comments and you check your DMs. So it could be, randomly at 10 o'clock in the morning for half an hour, you're going to be on Instagram responding to comments and DMs. I wouldn't suggest probably 10 o'clock. I would put it at a time where you're not doing other productive work, because it's very shallow work. If you know the work of Cal Newport, deep work and shallow work, checking your comments and DMs is definitely shallow work. So put it at a time when you don't really feel productive, a little half an hour block, or however long it takes you to get through. And instead of checking things and responding to things as they come in. The reason is, if you're always logging into the app, it's designed to addict you and hook you in. So if you're on there to check a comment, and answer a comment, you're probably going to end up scrolling and it'll be like, wait a minute, how did I end up doing that? So if we're trying to create more than we consume, you want to make sure that you condense and put boundaries around the time that you are spending on there checking your comments and your DMs. Last one is to actually refrain from scrolling. I know that is difficult, and spend the majority of the time on the app, whatever social media it is you're using, on your own profile. So what do I mean by that? It's that half an hour time that you are in there responding and replying to comments, looking at your insights, that sort of thing. That is really where you want to spend your time on a social media platform. And you might be saying like, wait a minute, Cora, but what about being social? It is social media. How do I create connections and interact with people? Well, I would recommend, instead of doing the sort of passive scroll and then, whoops, I found something interesting, let's repost it to stories, and that way of being supportive of other brands and other teachers out there, I would actually, instead of doing that, make a list of the people who you actually want to collaborate with. And those could be people that you already know their profile. I'm sure you have done enough scrolling on whatever platform it's on that you already know. You have a huge list of people you would love to collaborate with. I would, instead of like seeing their comments or whatever, seeing their posts and just randomly sharing it to your stories, I would write to those people and ask them, hey, do you want to collaborate? And then you can be supportive and social, but in a conscious and intentional way. You could collaborate on IG Lives together, or Instagram has rolled out a new feature where you can actually collaborate on a post, like a carousel post or something like that. So yes, you still do want to be social, but I would be more intentional about it. Just reach out to the people directly. You could DM them, ask them to collaborate, throw down the idea of a carousel post together or an IG Live together, something like that, if you're on Instagram, rather than scrolling. Okay, so that is number 2, create more than you consume. Number 3, serve your community first. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, as an entrepreneur, your job is to serve humanity, your little slice of humanity. So what that means is that instead of focusing your content around what is inspiring to you and what is interesting to you, you focus on serving your community, answering their questions, providing solutions to their problems, and putting out content that is helpful and relevant to them. It would be great if that is inspiring to you also. But I heard this quote the other day. I can't remember who it's by, so apologies if you said it, let me know and I'll give you attribution down in the comments. But the quote goes something like this: influencers post what they want, entrepreneurs post what their community wants. So if you are using social media as an influencer, that is a different business model than being an entrepreneur using social media to support your business. I'll do a different video about those two different models at another date, but if you check out my video, I'll link it up here if I can figure out how to do that, about 10 ways to make money as a yoga teacher. Is it 10? No, it's actually called The Ultimate Guide to Making Money as a Yoga Teacher. I'll post that video here. And being an influencer is one of those ways, right? But if that's not what you're doing and you have courses or classes that you want to invite people into, you need to post what is interesting to those people. So, of course, I think it is important to show who you are, show your personality, and you want to create authentic connection with your community. But if I were to give it like a random ratio, because I think sometimes these kind of examples are helpful, for every 5 posts you do for your community, you could do 1 post about something that is super interesting to you or that you're passionate about that isn't in direct service of your community. So that means if your community is really interested in how to loosen their hamstrings, which we can debate about that till the cows come home, but that's a different topic, then that's what you should post about, right? So there are all sorts of things that are interesting to me at my stage of business and just in my personal life that are not relevant to my community. For example, I did a poll quite a while ago about how many people were interested in learning how to build a team. That's something that I'm currently doing. It's something that I'm really interested in. And at that time, no one in my community wanted to know about that. So even though it's something that's interesting to me, it's something that I'm working on currently, it wasn't the right type of content for my community. It just wasn't of interest. It wasn't where they were at. Of course, that may have changed. People might be interested in that now. If you are interested in that, put a comment down below. Maybe I'll do a video on it. But it's really, really important to focus in on your social media about being of service to your community, right? Have that mentality first. Serve your community first. Of course, post the family portrait or the smoothie or the dog photo or whatever it is, but just be sure that the majority of your content is really serving the needs of your community. Number 4, create valuable content the easy way. Now, if you have done any sort of research on how to use social media successfully for your business, chances are you have come across this idea of creating valuable content. But you might be left wondering, but what is valuable content? How do I actually create that? And I have found that there's not a lot of information out there that actually spells it out for you. So that is exactly what I am going to do here. So from the last commandment, we know that we're creating community for our community rather than for ourselves, especially if you are a budding or a new entrepreneur, or you've been in the game for a while, but your model is entrepreneurship. Then you really need to focus on creating valuable content for your community. So what's the easy way to do that? The easy way to do that is to figure out what problems and questions your community members have and create content that solves those problems and questions. So here's an exercise. Get out a blank sheet of paper or open a blank Google Doc. On the left side, make a column that says problems/questions. And on the right side, make a column that says solutions/answers. Once you have those two columns, then start to fill out the left side first with the problems and the questions. Do a huge brainstorm list of all the problems and questions that your ideal students have. If you're wondering how to find those, think about the emails that you get, the conversations that you have after class. If you're teaching on Zoom, the questions that come through in the chat. What about your comments and DMs on Instagram or any other social media that you use? So all of those things that people have been asking you about or struggling with or saying, I don't understand this, or why do my shoulders do this in chaturanga, or what even is chaturanga? It's this part of the flow that we just brush over. So whatever problems and questions that your ideal students have, write those down on the left. On the next side, the right side, write down just like a little shorthand note of what the answer or the solution is to that problem or to that question. And you just want to write down something that is enough that will jog your mind. So let's use that chaturanga example. So imagine that your ideal students struggle with having the core strength and stability to do chaturanga. And it's something that they talk about, and they're like, I can never get it right, and why can't I build the strength for it? You could write chaturanga progression, right? That would be a solution to that problem, showing your students how to progress chaturanga. So that could be one solution. Do that for the entire list. So you've got all these problems on the left side. Start to write down the answers and the solutions on the right side. Now, each one of those items on the right side of your page is a possible post or series of posts that you can do on whatever social media platform you use. And then that is a huge content repository that if you create content around the answers to your students' questions or the solutions to your students' problems, you know that content is going to resonate and it is going to be valuable. So number 4, create valuable content, but do it the easy way. Don't guess, just answer their questions and solve their problems. Number 5, use content pillars to create a balanced plan for your social media creation. So creating content for social media is a lot of work. And if you have ever found yourself staring at a blank screen trying to figure out what should I post, then along with the last 2 commandments of creating content for your community and solving problems and answering questions, here is your secret weapon. When you're creating content for social media, you can break it down into 4 different categories. Those categories are educational content, entertainment content, inspirational content, and challenge content. When you work with those 4 categories and you provide all of those 4 categories, content that fits into all of those 4 categories, then you will have a balanced plan for your social media. So let's talk about the first one, educational content. You teach for a living, so this one is probably going to be the easiest for you to come up with. So if you remember from the last commandment, we talked about a progression for chaturanga. So you could do something like, for example, a carousel post, if you're on Instagram, that you swipe through, you know, those ones that you swipe through, with the different ways that you would progress that asana for your students. Another one could be an IG live class. I would only recommend teachers do that maximum of once a week if it's a full class. That's a different video, but I just want to throw that caveat out there. But teaching a class is educational content, but there are a million different ways that you could do it. Another type of content, the next pillar, is entertainment content. Now, this is becoming even more important as social media evolves. So I'm recording this video right at the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. And if you're looking at platforms like Instagram, they have come out and fully said that they are embracing this idea of being an entertainment platform. This really has a lot to do with the rise of TikTok, and that many of the videos on TikTok are just super entertaining, and they have noticed that that really keeps people on the platform. So when you are creating your content strategy, make sure that you include just pure entertainment content. So, that could be, showing parts of your practice or creating reels that just have, funny little ideas that you can use that don't really educate people. They could. Edutainment is definitely a thing. But really, you just want to create an emotional response for people. So that could be, laughter or, intrigue, whatever that emotional response is, that's what you're looking for in entertainment content. You want to make sure that you include this in your strategy, even if you're like, but wait a minute, I'm not entertaining. You are to someone, right? So just be yourself. It's like total mom advice. I know I'm not a mom, but that's the advice my mom would give me. Just be yourself. But you don't have to dance or be funny or any of that to be entertaining. A good thing to think about is, what do you find entertaining on social media, and try and create content like that. So for me, I do think I'm funny. So sometimes I create funny content on Instagram. Well, content that's funny to me. I don't mind being silly or goofy. So that is a great thing if that's part of your personality, but really bring out your personality. Maybe your entertainment content will be a lot more artistic. There are a couple of people I follow on Instagram. I'll link to them here if I can remember exactly what their handles are. But they create content that is more beautiful than anything else, right? There's a beautiful reel that I saw the other day of someone just setting up their altar for the solstice. And they were just moving things around. It was like a little stop motion thing, super entertaining. I loved it. It's not the kind of content that I create because I'm a bit more of a schmutz or whatever than that. But it was beautiful. I loved it. So you don't have to sing. You don't have to be funny. Show your personality, figure out what you think is entertaining, and make sure you include that in your social media strategy. Okay, the third content pillar is inspirational content. Now, this got a really bad rap with yoga and Instagram, maybe 5-10 years ago, where everything was about, doing a handstand in a bikini on a beach. If you're into that, great. That's not really inspiring to me. Maybe it will be inspiring to your ideal clients, though, your ideal students, so think about that. But one way that I really like to do inspirational content is through story, because people can relate to other people's stories. So if there are parts of your personal story that your community would find inspiring, like maybe you used to be addicted to your phone, but now you've swapped your phone out for 20 minutes of meditation in the morning. Maybe you used to scroll first thing when you get up. This is not me. And now you've swapped it out for 20 minutes of meditation. And then the end result, the before and the after, is that you feel like you're more productive, you're more focused, you're spending time on what really matters. That could be an inspirational story. You can also do this with case stories from your students and your clients. If they've achieved something through working with you, that can be a really great source for inspirational content. Okay, last pillar, number 4, is challenge content. Now, this maybe the one that you have the least experience with. I know it was for me when I started implementing it, but it's to challenge your students' and clients' objections or hesitations or concerns about working with you. That can feel super salesy, I get it, but think about it this way. Imagine your ideal student or client was someone who was like, let's say over the age of 60, 65. Now, they might have a hesitation to doing yoga, even though like the benefits of it seem really appealing to them. Maybe their doctor or their friends have recommended it. But one of their hesitations to doing yoga is that in their mind, it means getting onto the floor. And that may not be something that they're comfortable with. Maybe they feel concerned about it, or maybe it's just physically not a thing for that person. You could write a post about how to do yoga without getting onto the floor, or something like 5 yogis who prove that you can do yoga at any age. So really looking at the reasons why people might be hesitant, your ideal clients might be hesitant to working with you, and creating content that challenges those beliefs. So when you're creating your content and you're thinking about answering questions and solving problems, try and group your content into these 4 categories. So educational, entertaining, inspirational, and challenge content. And you might find that it's actually a lot easier to come up with ideas once you have these 4 pillars. I will also say that someone is doing yard work outside of my house. They've been doing it all week, and I just couldn't wait any longer to film this video. So my apologies if you hear a whippersnapper in the background. It's just life. Number 6, thou shalt embrace video. So video on social media is really, really important. I probably don't have to tell you that. You know that. But if you are watching this video early in the year, in 2022, I hope and encourage you to make this year the year that you actually embrace video and start creating it for your community. So we know that platforms like Instagram have shifted from being a photo sharing app to being a video and entertainment app. They've also said that they're a shopping app, but that's more for products than it is for services. So for us, for yoga teachers, it's really about utilizing video content. It's much the same on other social media platforms as well. So I have a reel about getting comfortable showing your face on social media. I'll pop it here. And it's an example of some of my best tips about getting comfortable on video, but also it's a reel. And if you are on Instagram, if your people are on Instagram, which we talked about in the first one, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but reels are probably the number 1 type of content you want to utilize if you are looking to grow and to be seen by people who don't already follow you. But reels are just one form of video content. So you could do short form video like reels. You can do long form video, kind of like what I'm doing here. This is on YouTube though, but you could post it on your social media as well. But you can also do live video on many platforms. Whatever kind of video you use, it's just important that you use it. If you're really being like, hey, I want to grow in social media, this is the year, I'm giving it everything I got, do all the video all the time, right? So your content will be seen by more people who don't follow you. Your content will also be seen by more people who do follow you. And this is the way that social media is shifting. It's really, really about video content. So if you want to get comfortable with being on video, I have a couple of quick tips. Again, check out that reel. But some simple things are use your first take. So I don't refilm these videos because I know that if I did, then I would hate everything all the time and I would constantly be filming them over and over and over again. So people want to know that you're a real person. So if you make mistakes and you stumble on your words like I do, just leave it in. It's fine. No one cares. We're human, right? So use your first take. And then I have a whole bunch of other tips, but the next one I will just say is if you can focus on creating video on your social media platforms, just like on stories if you use Instagram, that's really low tech. So you just get on there and you film and you start doing it. You get your face out there. It can be a really great way to start. And then gradually, if you want to invest in more tech or more production, do it. But it's not necessary. Video is how people build trust on the internet, right? So you would be surprised the amount of times that I have met with clients for the first time on Zoom and they're like, oh my God, you're a real person. Yes, yes, I am. But video helps to create that connection so that when they sit down with me on Zoom for the first time, then they already know what to expect. They know what my face looks like. They know what my voice sounds like. They know what my mannerisms are like. That helps to build trust. Trust is at an all-time low across the board on everything. So the more you can show up on video for your community, the more they will be able to trust that you are a real person. And you know, there's a wonderful quote. Who's it by? I'm forgetting her surname, so apologies if this is you. Her first name is Sarah. And she said in a workshop that I was in last year that money is the energy of trust. So if you are going to ask your students to do a paid class with you or do a private session with you, and they're finding you on the internet for the first time, they need to be able to trust you, right? And video enables that more than any other medium on the internet. Today's episode is brought to you by Lost to Launch, my 50-hour yoga teacher training that will teach you everything you need to know to start your very own business. If you're ready to take the reins in your teaching career and tap into professional autonomy and an uncapped earning potential, then Lost to Launch might be the right program for you. When you join, you receive 16 weeks of Business 101 education, live group coaching, and personal one-on-one mentoring with me every single week. As well, you get lifetime access to the curriculum and our worldwide community. We start twice every year. You can join in August or March. Our course is delivered entirely online, so as long as you have an internet connection, you can start building the business of your dreams today. To learn more or apply, go to www.coragiroux.com/lost-to-launch. Oh, and we're fully accredited with Yoga Alliance, so if you care about that kind of thing, you can log your continuing education hours for the course. Once again, if you want to learn more or apply, head to www.coragiroux.com/lost-to-launch. Number 7, include a call to action. What is a call to action? Well, it's just a direct ask for your community members to do something. The do is important. It's an action phrase, right? Call to action. So with every post that you create for social media, I would love to see it have at least one call to action per post. I think more than that, it can get confusing. Less than that, you're missing an opportunity. Social media is a noisy place. So even if you think your call to action is implied in the post, I would suggest that it is much better to just spell it out. What do you want your community members to do as a result of engaging in that piece of content? Now, there are some great call to actions out there. I'll pop a couple of them on the screen. Things like sign up now, or get started, or comment below are great calls to action. It could be subscribe to my newsletter, or click on the link in my bio for whatever thing you want them to click on the link in your bio. And when you provide a really clear call to action, it helps you to capitalize on the momentum that you generate through providing that valuable content for your community. So, for example, I would love you to follow me on Instagram. So that is my call to action for this video. Follow me on Instagram if you want to get helpful tips on running an online business as a yoga teacher. So when you include a call to action in your social media posts, you actually get the most value out of that time and energy you're putting into creating valuable content for your community. Number 8, WIIFM your profile. WIIFM is an acronym that stands for What's in it for me. Now, we know that people's attention spans are shorter than ever before. So when someone lands on your social media profile, you have approximately 3 seconds to help them answer the question, what's in it for me? So when one of your ideal students or ideal clients lands on your profile, do they instantly know what's in it for them? If you're not sure, here are some questions that can help you figure that out. So imagine that I am your ideal client and let's say you're on Instagram and I see someone tag you and I'm like, cool, that looks interesting. I'm going to click on your tag and check out what it is you do. I get to your profile and the countdown timer begins. 3, 2, 1. Why would I follow you? So that's the first question that you want to make sure is spelled out straight away on your profile, whether that's your Instagram bio or wherever it is that you are showing up on social media. So why would I follow you? There are good answers to that question. The types of content that you put out there, what problems you solve for your community, what it is that you do, how you help people. So a really common way to do this is an I help statement. Not everybody loves the I help statement, but I'll tell you what, it's effective and easy. So like, I help yoga teachers find freedom through online business. So if you're a yoga teacher and you want freedom through online business, that's why you would follow me, right? So question number 1, why would I follow you? If I follow you, what type of content will I see? So if you were to do one scroll on your Instagram profile, is that a good representation of the kind of content that you put out? And is that valuable content for your community or your ideal clients and students? If someone looks at the kind of content you put out and it's not clear why it's valuable to them or how it would be helpful to them, they probably won't follow. Oh, and the last question is, who are you and what do you do? So are you a yoga teacher? Are you a meditation teacher? Are you a yoga nidra teacher? And what is it that you do? Or do you do online education or classes? Or, why would I follow you? Who are you? What do you do? What type of content am I going to see? This WIIFM acronym is really important whenever you do any of your copywriting, whether it's writing newsletters or creating YouTube videos or whatever it is. But your potential clients and students want to know what's in it for me immediately upon engaging with your work. So make sure you WIIFM your profile, whether that's your Instagram page, your Facebook page, your group that you have on Facebook, whatever social media you're using, WIIFM it. Number 9, make sure that all roads lead to your email list. So this is probably one of the most important commandments on this whole list. If you are using your Instagram to support your business, whether that's teaching classes, running workshops, retreats, whatever it is, make sure that you have a strategy to get your social media followers to your email list. Now, I'm sure you probably know, but you don't own your social media community. So when you say your community on social media, it should really be in quotation marks because it's not your community. It's Instagram or Facebook's or Twitter's community, which you temporarily have the opportunity to communicate to. I know many people who have had their Instagram accounts shut down. They weren't doing anything terribly controversial. Who knows why? I've had my ads account shut down. In fact, this post got me shut down for promoting sexual content. Go figure. Anyway, so the idea is you want to make sure that while you might invest in growing your community on social media, make sure that you capitalize on that and bring those folks into a place where you have control over the relationship. So with your email list, you can download your subscribers at any time. You can store them in a spreadsheet. You can back up that list. You can change providers, and it's something that you own. It's a real asset in your business, whereas your social media following is not. It's kind of something that I like to think about while I've got it, while it's here. I want to take advantage of it. I want to use it, but I'm not relying on that for a long-term strategy because it's just not reliable, right? We don't know what will happen with social media in the future. Whereas email, it's been around for like 40 years and you actually own that community. So make sure that baked into your social media strategy is a way to get people from social media onto your email list. How do you do that? Well, one really simple way is before you are going to send out an email, let's say you send out an email on Tuesdays. That's what I do. Then on Friday or Monday, do a post on your or on the weekend if you work on the weekend. I don't, but that, you do you. On one of those days before your newsletter comes out, why not take a couple of the highlights from your newsletter, whack them in a social media post and say, hey, if you want to read the rest of this, I'm sending it out to my subscribers in my newsletter on Tuesday. Sign up, link in bio. That's your call to action, right? What do you want them to do? You could also post about your newsletter in your stories. You could make a free piece of content and promote that on social media in exchange for people's email addresses. That is called a lead magnet. I have found that it's useful to do anything and everything you can to help people move from social media onto your email list. As always, I will have a link below to my email list if you want to make sure that we stay in touch. I would love to have you there. I send out this type of content every single week, and all of my subscribers get this content a week early. So they get this in a podcast, a video, and a blog format. So no matter which format you like to consume, it'll arrive in your inbox on Tuesdays a week before it goes out to the general public. So if you want to join my newsletter, it's down below. But make sure that whatever you're doing in social media, there's a plan, an intention, and you're actually asking people to join your email list as well. All right, number 10, last but not least, give it time, go viral, or run ads. So what do I mean by that? If you are looking to grow your following on social media, those are your three choices. Give it time, go viral, or run ads. Give it time. So if you are not in a hurry and you can allow your social media following to grow over time, you will have a very high quality community because each one of those people has found you on their own accord and they know you, and it's easier to develop a relationship with a smaller community or deeper relationships within a smaller community. So you can give it time. It's not as easy to grow quickly on social media anymore as it used to be 5, 3, even a couple of years ago. Things have changed. So if you are happy for it to go slowly and have a good quality community develop over time, then just be patient, right? Know that it's not going to go quickly. FYI. I've had my same Instagram account for 8 years. So just, context. The next strategy is to go viral. And you might be thinking, is that actually a strategy? Isn't that something that just happens by chance? Well, yes, but you can do things to increase the chances of going viral. Let's say on Instagram, for example, if you wanted to go viral and to get in front of a huge amount of people, what would be the best way to do that you can control? Maybe getting featured on a really large account is something, but can you control that? I'm not sure. But what you can control is, for example, you could create reels because reels are what Instagram wants you to post right now. So you could really focus on creating reels, and that will get you in front of more new people than if you were doing other types of posts. Within that, you could focus on trending audio within reels. So using audio that a lot of people are using right now and it's trending, that can help to get you found. The last thing is to actually engage in trends on Reels. So there are quite a few trends going around. Just spend any time scrolling on Reels. It's like it sucks you in. I've wasted so much time on Reels. So if I only scroll on Reels if I know I don't have anything else to do. So, but if you do scroll on Reels, you will see the same sort of themes repeated. If you create your own spin and your own take on that trend using trending audio on Reels, you will increase your chances of going viral on Instagram. Different platforms will have different strategies. That's the platform that I know best, but figure out what the platform wants you to do and what's working right now, and that will increase your chance of going viral. For example, I have a friend who started creating video on Instagram, a yoga teacher friend, right at the time that Instagram was prioritizing video. And because she did that, her following grew massively in a short amount of time. So just something to think about. The last one is to run ads. So if you don't want to focus on the trends and you're not content to let your following be a slow organic build, then run ads. It's something that I do. I do it in conjunction with other strategies, but it's one way that you can get your content in front of people who might be interested in it. And it will help you to grow more quickly than it would if you were focusing purely on an organic strategy. So that's a different video, my strategy on running ads. If that's something you're interested, you can pop it down below. I've talked a lot about it within my community and in my courses and stuff. It's something that I use. I get pretty good results with it, but you do have to update your strategy all the time, even with ads, because they change all the time. So those are my 10 commandments of social media for yoga teachers. I hope you found that helpful. If you did and you're still here, oh my God, this is a really long video, so I'm so happy that you're still here. Hit the subscribe button. This kind of content comes out every single week. And again, if you want to get it in advance, get that exclusivity, get on my newsletter. And you'll get this as a video, a podcast, and a blog. You can tune in however you like, however fits your life. Okay, bye for now. Wow. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. I know that was a long video, but I hope you found it helpful. So if you are here, you might be wondering, hey, how do I win one of these? Well, all you need to do is leave a comment below this video. I'm running this contest in conjunction with my podcast, The Business of Teaching Yoga. If you're an audiophile, check it out. And every week I will select my favorite comment or my favorite review on the podcast and send out one of these awesome little tote bags to a lucky winner. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because I will announce winners in upcoming videos. All right, I will see you next week.